A new Nightreign update just got released, so let's talk about it. This update does shake up the meta quite a bit, but lower your expectations. If you were hoping for Shadow of the Earth 3 weapons, then well, you're out of luck. Now let's start with some nerfs. The glass necklace meta is dead. It is now nerfed to the ground. Or more accurately, it is fixed now. It used to be that it gave you up to 35% more damage with successive attacks, and it lasted an absurdly long time. But now it only gives you up to 22% damage, and the duration is much lower. So now, while it still might be a decent option to run, most people will still only run this on Undertaker now, as intended by the devs, instead of it just being the best relic for every single melee character. The double balancers meta is completely unchanged, but the devs did change one thing. You see, at some point it used to be possible for you to obtain a third balancer relic by fighting Everdark balancers before normal balancers, and you can just use all three of them at once to get massive weapon art damage. This is no longer possible because FromSoft made it so the third relic no longer stacks. This probably means that double balancers is not gonna change anytime soon. It's clearly an intended playstyle by the developers. Now, the fact that the glass necklace got nerfed doesn't mean that Undertaker got nerfed, because they buffed her in other ways. First off, they increased the duration of the relic effect that gives you more damage if you land the final attack in a combo. It now lasts 20 seconds when it used to only last for 12. This effect was always pretty good, but it's now a certified S tier in my opinion. They also buffed another relic effect, which is the one that gives you more damage if you use a healing incantation or an incantation buff. It used to increase your physical damage by 10%, now it gives you a 20% increase, and it lasts a whole minute still, making it just insane. Raider got quite a few changes in this update. He's a beast of a character now, as he should be. They straight up just gave him a new passive. And the way this works is that as soon as you reach low health, you get a 50% damage bonus that lasts 10 seconds. And by the way, this isn't tied to low health necessarily, you can heal up and still make use of this. They did not stop there though, oh no, because they made his movesets also be faster. Specifically the one-handed moveset and the two-handed moveset. Heavy attacks are now just much faster. They're still slightly slower than the normal heavy attack, but they deal more damage faster. Light attacks are also much faster now. When comparing them to the regular moveset, we see that the first attack in the combo is still slightly slower than the regular moveset, but the second light attack comes out faster, and the third light attack comes much faster, making this just the faster moveset overall now. I'm not sure if the moveset change will make two-handed combat better than power stancing now, but it's definitely much better than it used to be. Next up, they expanded the range of Raider's ultimate, which is very nice. I think you should really stop using this at a melee range and just use it from a small distance instead, because that way you probably still get the damage but you don't obstruct your teammates. Now, another character that got many buffs in this update is Executor, and like seriously, there are so many buffs here. First, I want to focus on his skill. Now, if you were hoping that they would make it so that your weapon buffs stay on after you switch and switch back from using the cursed sword, then you're out of luck. They still haven't changed that. But they did buff the hell out of this skill. They made it deal more critical damage. They gave you more guard boost when using it, so you actually lose less stamina when blocking attacks. They made deflects consume less stamina and straight up just deal more poise damage. They also made it so that if you deflect an attack and your stamina gets completely depleted, then you still don't get guard broken. I actually love this change a lot because this is exactly how it worked in Sekiro. Now they didn't stop there with Executor because they actually buffed his ultimate as well. They straight up just give you more damage with it now for all attacks except roaring attacks. And the damage of these attacks now scales with depth in Deep of Night, and I honestly never saw that one coming. They also made it so that you can't die when you're using your skill in the ultimate form, you just end up with 1 HP now. Yet another change for Executor is one that relates to one relic that used to buff his Suncatcher damage, and that one got a complete rework. It used to drain your health when you used Suncatcher, but now it just gives you a damage negation debuff when you attack with it. This debuff does have a short duration and can affect you for like a second or two even if you put the sword away. Now in exchange for that, you now get a massive 35% damage boost when you're using Suncatcher. For reference, you deal 176 damage with the Hand of Malenia at level 15, but you deal 202 damage with this with the relic on. You might think, well, the Hand of Malenia gets bleed and more mobility. Why would you ever use this instead? Well, to answer that, the devs have changed one more thing about Suncatcher, and it's the fact that the weapon art you can do with it now benefits off of the Balancer's relics. And that means is that when you use double Balancers and a relic that increases Suncatcher damage, we get a massive 1189 damage with the weapon art, which is just crazy for something that is guaranteed. The final change for Executor is that they increase the duration of the Relic effect that gives you healing if your passive ability is activated. It now lasts an entire minute, but it still only heals you like this much, which isn't that crazy honestly. Next, we got a buff for Revenant actually. Yep, you guys can stick it to me now, because it seems like the devs disagreed with me on this. Because Revenant summons now have their health scale with depth in Deep of Night, which is a very highly requested change. Now, I was never really against this change. I did say that I was not at all against Revenant getting buffed. I just didn't think it was necessary. Glad to see that the devs disagree though. Maybe now the sentiment around Revenant is gonna be more positive, even if the sentiment around the video I made about her will only get worse. Another change for Revenant is that her summons do more damage with their ultimate attacks when you activate your ultimate. So that's attacks like Sebastian Beam just doing more damage now. Another character that got buffed is Guardian. They straight up just give him more guard boost and well, they buffed his damage negation. If you don't know, characters in Nightreign do actually have different damage negation values by default. So the same attack will damage Duchess more than it does Guardian, for example. Well, now Guardian just got higher damage negation numbers. And these are the numbers that got changed. I think that the affinity negation changes are especially important here, because now you'll just take slightly less damage when blocking elemental attacks. Guardian got even more buffs with some of the relics that he can use. First off, they straight up increase the damage of the shockwaves he creates when blocking attacks with his steel guard. They also increase the amount of HP that you get by guarding with a specific relic effect, and they increase the effect of the relic that draws enemy attention when you're guarding. I haven't had time to test this yet of course, but hopefully you can hold aggro better now with it. Now let's get back to some nerfs. Ironeye got massive nerfs in this update. First off, there was a bug that made it so that relics that improved bow attack power and relics that improved attack power if you have 3 bows equipped were buffed alongside relics that did the same things with other weapon types. They were never supposed to do that and are now back to their original values. But the real big Ironeye nerf is the fact that distance drop off now applies to not just your damage, but to just about everything else, like revive damage, ultimate charge, and even status effects. So now you really need to stay at a very short range as Ironeye. This used to not matter too much because bow damage didn't even matter, and it was just those things that made Ironeye so good. But this is no longer the case. Next, there is a huge nerf to Shattering Crystal builds, and I love that. Fuck these builds. These spells used to be pretty broken because you'd be able to find that spell pretty consistently, because it came by default on 2 staves. But this is no longer the case, because the Rotten Crystal staff no longer comes with Shattering Crystal. Instead, it comes with Crystal Release. Now, Crystal Release is actually a very good spell. The damage on this is crazy. But unlike Shattering Crystal, this is extremely situational because of how it locks you into a super long animation. They also did increase the FP consumption of Shattering Crystal and Beast Claws too, so they now consume 27 and 13 FP respectively. Beast Claw did have the bug with it be fixed though. It used to be that sometimes using it would have the projectiles disappear into the ground, but this is now fixed. Another nerf is surprisingly directed at Scholar. You can no longer buy infinite throwing knives and throwing pots from the merchants, because they put a limit to how many of those that you can buy now. You can only buy 99 knives and 50 fire pots. I really don't like this change though. Throwing pots were powerful, but they needed very good relics, and they were very hard to manage, and now they're just worse. The final change I wanna go over says that it adjusted the appearance rates of target bosses, locations, and the shifting earth from the DLC in Deep of Night. It used to be that things from the DLC just had an incredibly high appearance rate for some reason, especially with the balancers, where it felt like every other run had them. I guess this is gone now, so good riddance. Anyway, if you found this video to be useful, then please leave a like and a comment. And if you want to find people to play with, then join my Discord server, link in the description below. And see you in the next one.